Hello and welcome to another episode of It's Tea Time. I'm your host, Jonathan Sellers, joined alongside by the Athletic Director of Troy University, John Hartwell. And John, another big, exciting week going on in Troy sports.
Yeah, lots of things, Jonathan. And, coming off this past weekend, obviously it was an open weekend football-wise, but had a lot of stuff going on, including senior day for our soccer team. Actually, our final home match is this coming Thursday against Louisiana Monroe here at home at 3 o'clock, but made the decision to go ahead and have senior day on a weekend when most of the parents could be here. We had 5 seniors and certainly an exciting match, a 1-0 victory over South Alabama, who was ahead of us in the conference rankings. That pulls us even to 3-3 in the league now, and 2 matches left before postseason, before the conference tournament, which is in San Marcos, Texas, at Texas State week after next.
And still holding steady in the Sun Belt standings as a soccer team. That was a big win over South Alabama and a good chance to kind of gain some ground with 2 wins in Louisiana.
Yeah, it has. At 3-3, standing in 4th place right now in the league, and by that win, they assured themselves of making the conference tournament. And at home Thursday against Monroe before going on the road to Lafayette Sunday to close out the regular season. And Lafayette, I think, is tied for first or half a game out of first right now. So an opportunity to gain even further ground in the conference standings.
Well, and speaking of the conference, volleyball team is right in the middle of things. They've still got a month out from the Sun Belt Championships, which will be here at Troy, but they're still holding steady. Kind of a tough weekend in Texas, their first ever trip out to face those 2 teams.
Yeah, tough swing out to Arlington and Texas State, and talking to Sonny this morning, their match Sunday was really tough. Went to the 5th set. I think they went up 13-9 and ended up losing 19-17 in the 5th set. But staying at 4-6 right now in the league. I think that's 7th in the league, but a lot of play left. They've really just gone into the 2nd cycle now. They play everybody twice, and I think there are more home conference matches left than there are on the road, so hopefully can take advantage of playing in Trojan Arena and climb the standings some.
And another team that's still in action but wrapping up pretty soon is going to be the cross-country team. They're just finished at the Crimson Classic in Tuscaloosa over the weekend, but will be home for the Sun Belt Championships in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we're excited about hosting the Sun Belt Championships. Actually, that's November 2nd. Which that will be a very busy weekend. We start with a Thursday night football game against Louisiana Monroe, and we'll talk in a few minutes about some of the things around that. But certainly that Saturday, the 2nd, the women's Sun Belt Championships go off at 10 a.m., followed at 11 by the men. I know our track and field alums have a reunion that weekend, starting with some events on Friday. The Troy Athletics Women's League is going to have a tent out there at the cross-country championships. Following the cross-country festivities, we will have basketball fan day from 1:30 to 2:30 in Trojan Arena, and following that from 2:30, I think it's until 7 that evening, Basketball 101, which is kind of a follow-up to our Football 101, which was such a success. But both our men's and women's programs, Shanda Rigby and Phil Cunningham and their staffs, both participating in Basketball 101, which is open for women finding out more about basketball.
And it was such a big hit for the Football 101, Basketball 101, hoping to be another big turnout.
Yeah, they've had very good preliminary registration, and certainly folks can even walk up the day of the event and register, but they're anticipating a great crowd.
All right, and let's speak a little bit more about basketball. Their seasons are just around the corner. Both teams will have exhibitions next week here in Troy. Talk about those.
Yeah, the women have an exhibition, I believe it's Monday night, and followed by the men Tuesday. I've had a chance to get over to a couple of practices. Both teams, I think they're getting to that stage in practice where they're tired of beating up on each other and want to go play some outside competition. But both of them are excited about the start of the season, which, literally about 2.5 weeks away. The men open at Ole Miss on Friday, November the 8th. So again, it's right here upon us.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about football now. They had the week off, as you said, and that was much needed. I'm sure it was needed for everybody working with the football team.
Sure, and our coaching staff took advantage of the weekend, got out and did some recruiting. We practiced, I think, 4 days last week. They took off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, came back in Sunday evening and practiced, took their customary off day. Yesterday is Monday, and talking to our coaching staff, some guys were able to get over some nagging injuries, after 8 straight weeks of play, or 7 straight weeks of playing, and, hope to be back to 100%. Chitty and Worthy, a couple of our wideouts who were banged up. We're excited and certainly a challenge to go face Bobby Petrino in Western Kentucky. Homecoming at Western Kentucky, but a 3 p.m. kick on Saturday. The game is on ESPN3, so those folks, you can go in and subscribe to ESPN3 for that game, and certainly a huge opportunity for us league-wise. 4-3 overall, 2-1 in the league. And if we can get that win again, the magic number is to get to 6 to be bowl eligible. Certainly we want to get more than that, but working our way towards that, and a conference championship still very much in the sights.
Well, and the Hilltoppers have kind of gotten the better of us the last 2 years, so it's maybe a little bit of revenge coming back and trying to get them.
Yeah, it is, and they obviously have a lot of weapons. They have the leading rusher in the nation, a very experienced team. They've got a couple of linebackers who are as good as not anybody just in our league, but are very high draft projectees. So we'll have our work cut out for us, but I know our coaching staff and players will be up to the challenge, and hopefully. It's not that far to Bowling Green. It's about an hour and 10 minutes beyond Nashville. So I know we have quite a few fans planning on making the trip, and still plenty of time. If you need tickets, call our ticket office. We've got some, and we'd love to have as many Trojans up there as we can in Bowling Green Saturday.
Well, then it's a short turnaround to play on Halloween against Louisiana Monroe, a big game at home, a ESPNU game, and got all the stuff going on around
Sure,
it.
we're very excited. Obviously, anytime you can have national television for a home game and showcase Troy University, we're very excited about that, and a little added flavor for Halloween, and certainly we've got a trick or two from a uniform standpoint that I hope the folks will come out to see. Our players have not seen these uniforms yet, and will not see them till they go to get dressed that evening for the game. So that'll really be something. But it is Halloween. A couple of events surrounding that. I know there's Wednesday night prior to that on the 30th. There'll be a bonfire and pep rally on Sorority Hill with our team there and sending the team off. And then there will be trick-or-treating after that on Wednesday evening for the local kids at all the sorority houses. And then that Thursday, starting at 4:30 that afternoon on Tailgate Terrace, all of our teams, all of our athletic teams will have individual tents. A lot of our student athletes will be dressed up, have trick-or-treating for the kids. We've got several promotions going. Any kid 12 or under in costume will get a free ticket for admission to the game. We've got a faculty and staff appreciation in that they can get a 4-pack of tickets, any faculty or staff member, for $16, so they can bring out the entire family. And last but not least at all, Military Appreciation Night. We expect to have quite a few of our active duty and retired military, along with we've extended the invitation to the National Guard folks too. So we expect quite a few folks for that. And I know Mark Walker and our band have a very special Halloween-themed halftime show. They're going to do their military appreciation pregame and then do the Halloween-themed show at halftime. And again, with all of that going on, not the least of which is an important conference game against Louisiana Monroe.
So there is a lot to look forward to next Thursday here in Troy.
Yeah, there really is. I think class lets out after 2 o'clock,
right.
2:30. So our students on campus certainly will be engaged, and we look forward to a very festive and not so cordial home field advantage for us when Louisiana Monroe comes to town.
And with classes being canceled, Trojan Walk and everything will go on as planned, as normal, with same time as usual.
That's correct. 6:35 kickoff, so I guess 4:15 maybe, if I'm backing up my math correctly. 4:15 Trojan Walk, so it will go on just like it was a Saturday.
Okay, and looking a little bit in the future with the Texas State game, the last home game of the season, it was announced the start time for that was set.
Yeah, the day after Thanksgiving, that Friday, it will be a 1 p.m. kickoff. It will also be an ESPN3 game, which will mean that every one of our games this year has been televised, which, you know, is obviously the exposure is very good for the program. But that 1 o'clock start time, we figured it would give folks who had eaten too much turkey the day before a little time to sleep in.
Chance to recover.
And you know, if part of the family may be going shopping, maybe they can get some early shopping. You know, I think Walmart opens about 4 o'clock in the morning, so maybe they can go get some shopping done.
Exactly.
Tailgate a little bit, go to the game, and hit the stores again afterwards. So we're looking forward to a big crowd for that too. And again, hopefully that game, you know, the final regular season game has huge implications for us in terms of conference championships and standings, and certainly bowl positioning as well.
We'll keep on looking at that as the weeks go along. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Jonathan.
All right, stay tuned for more coming up on It's Tea Time. Now on Tea Time, we're going to talk a little bit about soccer with the head coach of the soccer team, Chris Bentley. And Coach, you had a big one on Senior Day Sunday against South Alabama, pulling out a 1-0 victory.
Yeah, it was exciting. You know, great team performance, great effort all the way around. Played a very good team in South Alabama and really played well, competed well, did a lot of nice things, and had players come up in different circumstances, one of which keeper making big saves in the game. She was actually named Player of the Week for it. So, you know, I think it was a full team performance that was in front of her as well, and what a great goal we scored too. It was cool to see.
Well, just talk about that effort and goal by Madison Winter being named the Sunbelt Player of the Week.
Yeah, you know, we always kind of talk about goalkeepers having to make 1 or 2 really big saves, and in that game she did. She made 2 fantastic saves, even a third one that was off a deflection. You know, she did what she needed to keep the ball in net. In my opinion, that is the class of the goalkeepers in the conference when you do something like that. You can make it in those tight situations, and the game against South Alabama really was a championship type game.
And also, it was Senior Day, so it was a great way to honor the seniors with a 1-0 victory against a big rival.
Definitely. I mean, you know, South, again, they're a good team. They're competing for the same thing we are, and I think they're a team that could win the conference tournament. So for us to go out, play at home, play as well as we did, really took them out of their type of and style of play, and made them play a different way against us. You know, I think it was something really to be proud of. We still did give up some chances to them, though. But again, Madison came up big in those situations, and our team came up huge in many situations. So all the way around it was good.
Well, and you're wrapping up your regular season this weekend. Home Thursday against ULM, so your final home game, and then on the road Sunday against Lafayette. So 2 big games.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's really crazy about those games is La Monroe got a big win against Texas State on the weekend, which was an upset. Which means they still have some life. They could get an 8th seed. So a game going into Thursday here, I would expect it to be war. They have life in them, and they're going to want to play for everything they got, and we have to be the team that puts them out of their misery, so to say. So I hope we take that and don't take the game lightly, which obviously as a staff and the way we present our video and things like that, we won't. We prepare them all the same for every game, but you know, it's certainly a game that's going to be a big deal for us.
You've already clinched a spot in the tournament, but what are you looking at if you get 2 wins? What's the best case scenario?
I think best case scenario is probably 3rd. You know, there could be some weird scenarios in there, but I think best case is probably 3rd, and that's not bad. You know, we talked to you last week about coming out of the weekend with Western Kentucky and Georgia State, and just on the wrong end of a couple silly ones. We were a couple posts and a goal called back away from being in first place after that, and we'd be very much in the driver's seat now. But unfortunately, that's the way it goes sometimes. You know, soccer is a funny game, and I think we can control ourselves going forward, and certainly once we get into the tournament, assuming everyone's healthy, I think we can make a real run at it.
All right, well, good luck coming up this week, and hopefully we'll have some good news as we head into the tournament and get to talk to you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, stay tuned for more coming up on It's Tea Time. And now taking a look at another team that's wrapping up their schedule for the season. That's going to be the cross-country team, and with Coach Jeff Jenkins. Coach, running at the Crimson Classic over the weekend, you had some pretty good performances over there.
That's right, Jonathan. Our women's team, I think they averaged, I look back at our schedule from last year, and The best race we had over 5K was at the Sun Belt Championships last year, which is by design. But at the Crimson Classic this past weekend, without our number 5 girl, our top 5 averaged about 45 seconds faster than what they ran at that meet. So, and of course, it wasn't easy. It was a very difficult course, but we did avoid the injuries that we avoided up in Louisville. The women's race was actually called back because somebody fell in the first 100 meters, and so it was kind of scary sitting there on the starting line and just seeing how crowded it was going to be. But they did a really good job of maybe getting out a little bit quicker this time and not getting caught up in that crowd so much. But then at the same time, they ran pretty well. A few people are starting to feel a little more fresh than they did earlier in the season. The men's race, I think we averaged 27 seconds better over 8K than what we did at the conference meet in 2012. And we did that with a whole lot of freshmen, 4 freshmen in the top 5, and that's become our solidified top 5 on the men's side. Instead of 3, now we have 4. Wow. So, but they look great. We had a good string of guys moving up in the race together. But a big gap between 1 and 2, but after that, 3, 4, and 5 were all together, so it was good. And
it's also the same course that the South Regional is going to be held, so it was good preparation for that.
Absolutely. The women will move up in distance to 6K at the South Region race, which their course was a little bit short on the 5K this weekend. They'll move up to 6K. The men will move up to 10K at the regional championships. But getting to see that course is basically the same exact thing they're going to run, maybe an extra loop here or there. But it was good for them to be able to see that and run as fast as they need to run on that regional competition.
Sorry, as I said, coming into this is your warm-up before the Sun Belt Championships. Y'all are basically wrapping up, so you've got nothing left but the Sun Belt Championships.
Right, that's it. A weekend off this weekend, not racing. We kind of got a good gauge this weekend and saw more conference competition than what we've seen all year. So a lot of Sun Belt schools, Texas Arlington, Louisiana Monroe, South Alabama, Georgia State, and us. So 5 of the 10 Sun Belt schools were there. That's good to have in a cross-country meet to compare yourself to the competition. We beat a few of the Sun Belt schools. A few of them beat us. We were close to a few. So we know who to gauge ourselves off of going into the home week Sun Belt Championships.
So what will you be doing in this week coming up, getting ready for the meet?
Well, the volume has dropped, which it's fun for the athletes. They leave the workout going, is that it? Is that all we're doing? But no, it's good for them to be able to run fast on our course still, just like they did in our race at Coach O. But really get a lot more preparation for that meet and just mentally prepare for what's going to be happening at the Sun Belt Championships.
All right, well, good luck in preparation for that, and we'll talk to you next week as you head into that meet.
Thank you, John.
All right, stay tuned for volleyball coming up on It's Tea Time. Welcome back to It's Tea Time, and we're going to take our final look at Troy sports and talk a little bit about volleyball with the head coach, Coach Sonny Kirkpatrick. And Coach, it was a tough week in Texas with 2 losses to Texas State and Texas Arlington in close matches.
They were very close. Unfortunately, they were both losses. We need to do a better job finishing individual games and matches. First game against Texas State, we had a bunch of stuff go against us in the first game, but we're still up 24-20. Lost 26-24. We needed 1 play. Won the second game, and with 1 play, we would not have been hitting very well, but we would have had the possibility to be up 0-2. Sunday was totally different. We went down 0-2, came back to force a 5th game. We're up 13-9 in the 5th game and couldn't close it out. And that's the thing that's been kind of a recurring theme. We get to the 5th game, whether we're coming back and fighting hard or we're ahead and fighting hard, and we just have to figure out a way to finish a match.
What do you think's happened in that 5th set when y'all get to that situation?
I really wish I knew. If I knew, I would like to think that we could fix it. We've been working this week on finishing in practice and putting them under some pressure that they have to be in. And hopefully that'll help us go forward and be a little bit better when we get to that point.
So you've got a tough travel this week. You're on the road Friday at Arkansas, Little Rock, then back here Sunday facing Texas State again. What is that challenge going to how are you going to handle that challenge?
One of the reasons that we schedule the way we do in the preseason is because we know what our conference schedule is early enough. With the teams that left the Sun Belt last year, we knew we were going to have to go on the road quite a bit and be able to play, and that's one of the reasons I scheduled the way I did. They weren't easy tournaments that we went to, just preparing us for conference play. And I like to think that we'll be able to handle the challenge of going to Little Rock and then having to come back to play on Sunday. And with Texas State already going to be here in Troy, it almost seems like they're their home team in our building.
Now, you've faced both of these teams already this year. What are you going to tell your team going into these matches how to handle these two teams?
It's just about cleaning stuff up. We lost, the typical pattern, lost in 5 to Little Rock here. It was a very competitive match. Had opportunities to pull out a win and didn't come down to it. So we're naturally watching how we performed in that match and seeing what we can correct. It'll be the same thing with Texas State. We just played them last weekend. We did some things that were very successful against them. They did some things that were successful against us. So I imagine they're working on what we did that scored, and we need to try to slow them down in some areas.
Now, we're just about a month out from the Sun Belt Championships. What are you looking from out of your team the rest of the way?
Just consistency. When we play, I think we're pretty good. When we kind of lose our focus, we're not average, and we're trying to make sure that we're consistent the entire way through a match. Sometimes that doesn't happen. So, we have some things that we need to do, and we have to clean up some areas, but I think we're heading in the right direction. And the nice thing about the conference is that all the teams are fairly evenly matched from top to bottom. So even if we're a lower seed, we've got just as good a chance to win the conference as anyone else.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for joining us, and good luck this week.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you for watching, and tune in again next week for more It's Tea Time.